Perfect. Thank you so much.
Should capture everyone, right?
Is this the camera they use?
Yeah.
So we're supposed to get a microscope out to, I mean, a magnifying glass to look at the people?
I haven't seen the previous setup, so I'm
Who are you, Rob?
Julia. Julia?
Yeah. Are you staff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the camera before has a little bit more.
Oh, and you're so far back too. Well, it can't move. It's just stationary. God. That's like having a security camera up there.
Yeah, it's a new set. They're looking at. That's why.
Oh, these.
Sorry, this is for the ballot. That's just the ballot.
Ballots? Oh, yeah, I was supposed to turn one in and, yeah. So when can they be turned in? Yesterday?
I'm not sure. Maybe I'll give you yours.
Sorry.
Thank you.
No.
I know, except the weather is crap.
Yeah, I just want they had. Try it, please. Yeah, you can actually go to 3 to say 1, 2, 3. That's all right.
I could probably be better.
They had.
He tried to get us to take one. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah. That's what. Look at that.
No, no, no.
You have to sit up here.
I call this meeting to order at 9:32. Welcome, everybody. As you can see, we're trying something a little different with our seating arrangements, so you have a place for your coffee and your donuts. Let us know what you think of that, or if we should go back to the other way that we did things. Okay, I'd like to ask you to please silence your phones. And then if you would and able to, please join with me, stand and write the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Thank you. I'm going to turn this over to Secretary Thomas now for the video disclaimer.
Oh, excuse me. The general session is being filmed. Excuse me, I'm sorry for that. The general session is being filmed and posted on the member portal of the First Service Connect website. If you speak during homeowner comments, your image and comments will be included in the filming. Private audio or video recording are prohibited. Please silence all cell phones.
And now the roll call
Roll call, President Roxanne Wilmore.
here.
I'm here. Lisa Bagan. Teresa Chamberlain Sprouton. Here.
Kurt is with us today via Zoom.
Here. Kathleen. Treasurer Lynn.
We got you, Kurt.
General Manager Mike Flores. And we know Fernando's here. He just had to step out. Oh, and I'm sorry. Julia. Thank you.
And the executive session acknowledgement.
An executive session meetings were held on April 26th, May 1st, May 8th, May 20th, where the board of directors discussed some or all of the items related to the following: litigation or potential litigation, matters relating to the formation of contracts with third parties, member discipline, member delinquency, including payment plan requests, personal matters, and or approval of executive session minutes.
Okay, and now we will have the review of the minutes from last month. If there's any additions or changes, please state that.
Yes, there are, in the minutes under. I'm sorry, I was looking at my own personal minutes, okay. Is it page 10? Page 10 in your packet. Under item 14, there was a motion to approve committee reports, meeting minutes with the exception of the architectural committee minutes, the architectural committee meeting minutes, provisional approval until Director Lisa, the board liaison, provides a hard copy of the meeting minutes to the board. And that was provided immediately after the meeting. And so what happened after the meeting, we actually did a electronic email vote to approve the minutes. And it wasn't noted in these minutes that are available for the membership in the packet. However, we need to make this amendment because it reads post meeting adjournment, motion and vote held via electronic mail motion to fully approve the architectural committee meeting minutes. It was seconded by Director Lynn and it's passed unanimously with two exceptions. Do you want to go ahead and read those?
Yeah, why don't you?
Okay. Unit 1, House 47 was on hold. Unit 8, House 33 was tabled. However, those have recently been resolved because they were discussed in executive session and they have full approval to begin the projects.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other adjustments or corrections to the minutes from last month? Okay, I would like to make a motion then to approve these minutes. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? All in favor? Ben? Oh, okay, then it's abstaining. Thank you. Okay. Now we'll go down to our reports. The first report is mine as president. It's not in your packet, so I'm going to be reading it to you.
Roxanne, are there any agendas?
I think they've all been passed out, that somebody can go print some more. Got a long meeting in front of us, is that possible? How many, raise your hand if you need an addenda. Can you? Thank you, Fernanda. So my president's message. Your board of directors has been very busy these past few months doing the work of the board. We have heard you and we have shared your concerns, and we have worked diligently to take action in a manner that meets our fiduciary responsibility to the association. The road has been bumpy coming off of self-management to an outside management company, with many lessons learned along the way. In that 10-month process, we have learned a few things. One thing we know is that our current management company is not the best fit for us. And so the board has made the decision to not renew the contract with First Service for another 12 months. The last day of their current contract is July 31st, 2024. Through our due diligence and the work of the Management Selection Committee of Spring 2023, who worked tirelessly to interview and make recommendations, we have contracted with a new management service, Keystone Pacific. The transition will start immediately, and their on-site management begins August 1st, 2024. We believe Keystone recognizes and appreciates the uniqueness of Oceana, and we are looking forward to having them as our new partner. We will provide more information about this change at the town hall meeting on Saturday, June 8th, 1 to 3 p.m. Please join us at this meeting as we share more information and take your questions. The next 2 months will be a period of transition that will impact all of us. Responding to your requests for change means that there will be changes. This is not about the board or the homeowners or the management company. This is about doing what is best for the association and working together as a community. This is going to be a lot of work, and your board of directors is working much harder than anyone realizes. We need your help, your positive energy, and your support to see this through. Together, we can do this, and we will. Thank you. And next on the reports is the secretary's report. Evelyn Thomas.
The keeper of the records, in a sense, is the role of the secretary of the board. The custodian of records is the board's phrase. The secretary is responsible for maintaining accurate records of board meetings, including agendas, meeting minutes, and other official documents. As I discovered recently, minutes from board and committee meetings can be called into question within a court of law. This is the main reason the board emphasizes the importance that all actions of a committee are recorded in the meeting minutes. It is easier said than done. To all the resident volunteers of committees that record meeting proceedings and actions, thank you for the job that you do on behalf of the association. I understand the challenges, frustration, and joys that come with the role and responsibility of maintaining accurate records of events. Thank you for taking on the feat. I am grateful and appreciate the dedicated work of these volunteers.
Okay, and now we'll have our treasurer's report, Lynn Lisinski.
It's not working. The April financials were not in the packet this month. However, we did receive them at the finance committee and I have reviewed them. My review of them is here. Though they initially show a negative net revenue, with the adjustments reporting the adjustment for the December invoices that were paid in January, that still needs to be corrected. And there was a double payment to the landscape contract. That brings us to a positive of $62,000. There is also need to be an additional adjustment that we are researching. A payment was made. We were told that there was an estimated federal and state income tax combined of $42,000 for last year. This was a surprise. We've never paid income tax before. The real surprise was that we received the estimate on only the sheet that you report to the state, not the calculations that back it up. So we're working on getting the support and the justification for these taxes. It is an unresolved issue as far as the association is concerned, and I want to assure you that we're not just rolling over and letting that happen. It may well be due. It may be information that once we see that was our liability for last year. If it is, we do have the funds to be able to meet that responsibility. We're looking into it. At the close of April, the operating fund had $458,000 with $329,000 in liabilities. So we have an unencumbered balance of $128,000. The reserve fund had $1.4 million, $645,000 in cash and the balance in investments, and the activities fund is holding its own at $18,000 again this month. The special assessment, we have the assessment itself was a total of $335,520. Of that, we have collected all but $30,130. We have spent $100,000 of that money on the legal bills at an amount of $20,000 per month for 5 months, leaving a balance of $205,390. I just mentioned that court costs and the cost of experts who might be called in for research or to testify is not included in the $20 a month, which is why the amount of the assessment is more than $240. But it will be included in that, and I'll report it as we have those. Current projections is still a little bit too early for me to feel comfortable, but if I take 4 months of expenses and multiply it by 3 to get us 12 months, we're within budget for this year. Currently, as I said, we're working on clearly getting the operating and activities reporting separated. That still needs some improvement in the detail, and working on the tax liability question. Coming up, we'll be continuing to work on the reports that we receive, reviewing the audit and taxes, and reviewing the year-to-date 2024 in-house records to ensure that everything is complete and accurate as we transition over.
Thank you, Lynn. Next is our homeowner forum. And during this time, Kathleen Dowling, our vice president, will be timing. And this is during the open forum. Each attendee may address the board for up to 3 minutes. If a speaker is in the middle of a sentence when the time is called, he or she may finish their thought before sitting down. The time guidelines ensure that others will also have the opportunity to speak. The board is not obligated to respond or act on anything presented. I first have an email from a homeowner, so I will read that. And if you were interested in speaking, do I have any papers? Mike, do I have paper? Oh, thank you. This is from Jaylee Finley, and she sent this to me via email. A couple of weeks ago, my friend and neighbor discovered some rearranged furnishings, sodas, and a melon left on the back porch of her Oceana home during the night. Everything rearranged in such a way as to indicate the uninvited visitors had every intention of returning. My neighbor was recently widowed, has poor hearing, and was absolutely terrified by the experience. A couple of days after that incident, I had an unknown young woman walk behind my home in the afternoon and yank flowers from my garden, all the while glancing into my open windows. Her male accomplice quickly drove her away after she similarly visited a few other homes in Unit 4. Both my neighbor and I reported these violations to the Oceanside Police Department and were informed that the officers would have a hard time arresting and prosecuting any offender discovered within specified common areas in Oceana. They suggested we post no trespassing as well as no solicitation signage around the property. This way, there would be a clear expectation of privacy in all the areas, and the police would have authority to intervene. Otherwise, we would be at the mercy of individuals taking advantage of a perception of powerlessness in vulnerable parts of our community. Additionally, it has come to my attention that the outdoor cameras are not working properly and are not sending real-time videos to the appropriate individuals to adequately monitor the premises of Oceana. It would be great to have these units repaired and or replaced to work in conjunction with the signage to help assure better protection for our residents. Thank you so much. Next on the list here is Paula Knittel. Okay, Paula Knittel, sorry for messing up your name, and I don't know what you're going to speak about, so go
Yeah,
ahead.
take 2 seconds because what I was going to speak about was first.
Louder.
It's just gonna take a minute. I was gonna speak about First Residential Service, but now that we have gotten a new company, I am thrilled to pieces. And I really hope that they're going to manage in such a way that's going to be beneficial to all the homeowners and the association. I'm really looking forward to going to the meeting on June 8th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next to speak will be Trina Rosa. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Trina Rosa and I live in Unit 8. I understand that this new board of directors recently approved an architecture request submitted by my new neighbor. I would like to know why all of you have ignored the concerns and objections that were raised in the cease and desist letter that was sent on March 1st. Your recent approval of adding an exterior door right next to my bedroom window and attached wall so the neighbors can create a personal outdoor living area with barbecue setup right next to my house completely goes against all the rules of our community and negatively impacts us in multiple ways. There is an existing door and barbecue area that could be utilized instead. Our home has always been a nice, quiet, and peaceful place to live for the last 6 years. That's why we purchased this particular unit. Changing the purpose of this small common area into an exclusive use area that allows new activities that will cause disturbances to neighbors is not allowed. We have provided you with multiple rules and laws in the governing documents, as well as Davis Sterling laws, to support our position. Yet you choose to ignore all of these, including the duty you all have to protect homeowner interests and their rights. None of you has ever reached out for more information to understand this situation, yet you've made a decision on hearsay and special interests. I ask that you please reconsider your position on the situation. Homeowners, for this new board to allow and approve a deliberate disturbance right next to your home is not something I want for any home. If you want to continue living in a nice, peaceful and quiet environment, if you want more information, or you believe your interests and rights are being dismissed or have been negatively impacted, please reach out. Send an email to oceanarights@gmail.com. That's Oceanarights, RIGHTS @gmail.com. Send your contact information and I will get back to you. Or you can call 760-407-6157. We need to work together to keep this HOA and new board members accountable and working for us and not against us. You have a right to continue living peacefully and quietly here in Oceana, as stated in our governing documents. Board of Directors, you have a duty to uphold them. In fact, some of you new members ran on the premise that you would defend homeowners' rights and were against changes to common areas, especially when it impacts other neighbors. Please hold true to your word. Thank you all.
Thank you, Trina. Our attorney is looking into that. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak at this time? Okay, Peggy Moore.
I apologize, I know, slip step there. I want to speak to the board first and to the community second. I just want to thank you. I know firsthand it's not easy, and you've been thrown into a mix, and I indicated to a couple of my friends who ran for the board who thought they could come in and within a week or two power through. I was warned when I joined the board to not go in with my guns blazing. And sometimes it takes time. 3 years ago in 2021, when I first got on the board, Keystone was a company that we haphazardly interviewed. But the board at that time was still in favor of self-management. And we've learned the hard way that self-management is not the way for this community. We're just not qualified. I'd also like to request to the board that when considering staffing for the office, a strong financial person is in that office rather than staffing it heavy with clerics. Every dime of our money is accountable to the homeowners and how it's handled, how it's processed, how it's reported. I find it unacceptable that the April financials were not made available to the homeowners. I understand why, but notes can be made on them to explain. We have now been almost 9 months without good financials. To the homeowners, I just want to say thank you for supporting the board. It's not always easy when you go in and yell and scream at staff, yell and scream at board members. It really does a disservice to 932 homeowners. So I ask for homeowners to be patient with this transition. It's not an easy one, but we'll get there.
Thank you, Peggy. Do I have anybody else who wishes to speak? Okay. Steve, right? Steve Gillis?
Yes. I guess I just have to tell you that I'm not surprised that first residential transition was bumpy. And I think we all need to recognize that we're a $6 million a year business. It's a multifaceted business. And that in the real world of business, in my experience in 40 years of working with and for businesses, there's going to be a transition, but that is planned for before, not after the transition starts happening. Said another way, the idea of going jumping from one to another to another to another, whether it be self-management to outside or staying with outside. We have to be a little more cautious and careful in terms of allowing a certain period of time. In every merger, every situation I've seen of business change, there's always a period where both are in play. You don't just drop one day and start a new one the next day because the new one is completely in the dark. The new one needs to be in for a while so that the transition can be smooth. And that was the largest single failure, I think, of this first transition to First Residential. I don't have any idea how this is gonna go, but please, in the future, consider that there ought to always be a transition period. Second, I would say this, and I'd like to make an appeal to the community. Finally feeling better, I am able to work again, and I do think we should really go to work on a set of bylaws that address, among other things, this notion of self-management versus outside. And I think the next time there is a change from one to the other, it ought to be made with the full advice and consent of the membership, not simply by a well-meaning board. Okay, I think it's too big of a choice, and I think again, it can be done a little more prudently and a little more professionally than I've seen it done here.
Thank you, Steve. Mike Archer, did you want to? Were you here?
Yep.
Yeah, speak on your topic.
My name is Mike Archer. I am the new president of the Oceana Good Neighbor Fund. It was recently reactivated and added members. We added members to our board. We are now in the process of determining the best way to fulfill our mission of assisting our neighbors in need. Initially, our plans are to award small grants for emergency financial assistance of between $50 and $100. To move our project forward, we asked for the Aladdin project support to enable us to get the word out through the various Oceana communication outlets and occasionally a space for our group to meet and discuss the best ways we can do this. In the past couple of months, we've sold the patrol car that was out there, established our own website at ognf.org, and are currently working with the Community Resource Center to see how they can best help us perform our mission. We're also anticipating meeting with the unit advisors since they may have knowledge of the residents with needs. Small working group of us is establishing the guidelines and processes for how we will go about qualifying people for our help and how it will be delivered. We hope to be offering grants later this summer. Current board is made up of myself, Sydney Wasson, Tom Estingo, Karen Bishop, and John Mortimer. Our last community meeting, there were about 10 others who expressed an interest in helping to fulfill our mission. Thank you for your consideration of our request. If you need any additional information, please feel free to reach out to me or any of the members of our board.
Thank you, Mike. And is there anybody else who wishes to speak? And your name and asking for unit number.
Morning, Wayne Landry, Unit 10. Morning. Can you hear me? Okay. Wayne Landry, Unit 10, number 20. I just had a question. We have 2 or 3 residents in our unit who just received a ballot on the bylaw changes. Now, most of us received them a month or 6 weeks ago and returned them. Now, they say this is their second time that they've received a ballot, which to me sounds. But the second part of that issue is the due date to return it, that ballot, was the next day. I mean, they received it on, let's say, on a Wednesday, and the due date was Thursday. So what the hang is going on? That's all.
Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to speak? Okay, then we will move on. Okay. To our financial report. Lynn, do we have anything to talk about with that?
Reports for the last March are
The reports of the March financials are in your packet. They are from last month, as I was not here, reports the things that needed to be addressed in those financials. These things have been addressed over the course of the last month and corrected. So, with the exception of adjustments from prior years and things that we have noted, the March financials are correct, and I would like to make a motion that we accept the March financials pending adjustments to be made.
We have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Sterling? Kurt? We have one no.
And the April financials will be in the packet next month for us to consider.
Moving on, delinquency actions, we did not have any available in this packet, so we won't be doing any approval or denial of that today. Okay, we have the general manager's report next.
For those residents who did not turn in a ballot for bylaw measures A and B, second set of ballots were sent out this month. We had until 9:30 this morning in order to close out. Let us provide you a status update of those measures. Inspector of Elections was scheduled to come if the association had made quorum. Since we received a large number of ballots right now, we need to count those in order to ascertain if we made quorum. However, we may need the board to make a motion to extend the ballot count until June.
When will we know if we have quorum?
As soon as we count the ballots. They'll just give this one.
Is he here now to count the ballots?
Special, no, the gentleman is not here.
Who will be counting the ballots?
The inspector of elections.
Okay, so he is coming to count them, is what you're saying?
I will schedule with him to come and count the ballots that came in, but as yesterday, we had not made for. So we had a lot.
So are you saying we won't know today then if we have a quorum during our
Oh.
meeting?
I'll find out
Okay,
if we're able to get the gentleman to count out for today.
okay, all right, thank you.
Second part of the report is accounts with special assessment payments plans have had all outstanding accounts notified. And all outstanding agreements have been submitted to service suspension. As a result, we are happy to report that the majority of the accounts have been brought current. Special thank you to Ms. Tony Valenzuela for all her assistance in accomplishing this project.
Okay, thank you. The next is our facilities managers report. So Fernando, could you update us on that?
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, we had a couple of reports that we got done. We passed a fire extinguisher inspection for the property. We also had unit 2 on W Street. They had a main line leak, 1-inch copper line, which we repaired. We had a lot of trip hazards reported to us. Unit 11 walkways in front, next to the front doors, the sidewalks and stuff. There was about total of 15 of those reported, which were all completed. You want me to read each one? No, okay. We had also a stairway landing that needed some repair, that already got done. Unit 12, painting 1 through 10 has been completed. 11 through 20 should be completed by Friday. And they're already prepping 21 through 34. Ongoing, like I said, the preparation between 12, 21 to 34, Parkway, rock backfilling is still ongoing. Red lines are still ongoing. I am looking for the new project that's coming up with this garage, unit 8, with trash shed. We're looking to get a designer to come and design and draw it out for us and send it to the city, get it approved before we get bids. That way, everybody bids on exactly the same set of plans, and there's no mismatch of any.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve Gerardo Design and Drafting to complete the necessary drawings as required by the city so that Fernando can go ahead and begin his bid process. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? Kathleen?
Does this include all the engineering reports that would need to be available before this goes out to bid?
Correct, so he'll present it to the city after it gets approved, then we'll send it out to bid. And then and then whoever wins the contract, they will pull the permits.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions? No, we're good. Okay, so then I'd like to call for a vote on that by a show of hands or in Kurt's case. You just let us know. All those in favor? Aye. Yes. Okay, that was a unanimous yes. Thank you.
We budgeted the beginning of this year for maintenance on the solar. Do you have that calendar or scheduled to be done?
We actually already had it, we had some spoilers, some inverters not doing the right processing and they had to get updated. They already came out and they already did, and it came out to $800.
Okay, and so they did all of the maintenance for the year at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
May I ask a question also? Regarding the budget, we have budgeted for 8 roofs. Update on those, this is independent of the garage structure, correct?
Correct.
Okay, update on those,
I already had proposals, I just didn't get them in time to put them in for this month, so they'll
Okay.
be in the next month for you.
great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thank you. Any other, okay, Teresa?
I want to thank Fernando and his crew for jumping on a trip of Falk Hazard and Unit 2. And the residents really appreciate the timeliness of the turnover. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, I wouldn't want to make a comment, most of these work orders can be done. I just need people to report them. If you guys report them, especially if they're trip hazards or lights, we try to get on them as soon as possible. If we have a leak, then that's when we pull off, but if you guys report them, you'll be able to do it. Okay? And the youth, I switched their name to Karma, because, yeah, they're doing a great job and I want to thank them for the support.
It's the Common Area Risk Management Action Committee. Carmen. Okay, thank you. Are you going to finish them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. We are going to put the rental policy update on hold until June. So we're going down to B, which is compliance violation process review. Is that with you, Evelyn? Oh. Okay, she's busy here. Okay, is that page 36?
It's page 36, yes. Okay. I think it's important for the residents to know, since OCA went from self-management to community management, the compliance process has had a rebirth. Thanks to the last board term compliance committee for doing the hard work, and we created a documented process. And the reason why I think it's important for we discuss this during this meeting, because there's misinformation and inaccurate information about the process. Some residents still use the former practice of reporting a violation by emailing the board or having a conversation with the board member about a violation. It's been nearly a year since First Service Residential took the reins for the compliance process. The board still receives emails about compliance violations. And I want to let the people know, lost my place. Once again, the board still receives emails about the compliance violations. The process begins with completing a compliance request form, which can be found on page 41 in your packet. You will submit it to the OCA staff, office personnel. And once you do that, your part is done. Then the management takes over. And it's a confidential process. And the association has a duty to investigate the violence process. And if you turn to page 37, pages 37 through 39 breaks down the process. For example, it tells you that the compliance committee is an executive committee. The compliance process is a management responsibility, not the board's responsibility. The board of directors is involved at the end of the compliance process when the process results in a hearing. Take in mind, it always doesn't end in a hearing. Because majority of the residents, once they receive a notification via a courtesy letter about the violation, most residents fall into compliance. So it never goes to the hearing process. But when it does, that's when the board gets involved. Also, it breaks down the violation reporting, statutes of limitations, confidentiality. I know there's been a fear throughout the community if you report a violation that you're confident let me step back. That somehow during the process that your name will be revealed as reporting the violation. It's a confidential process. Once you submit the form, you're done, management takes over. It goes through the compliance committee meeting, hearings, hearing follow-up appeals, government documents. I mainly want to focus on page 41. So please, if you have your packets, please turn to page 41. In order for the management to take action on any violation, it has to be recorded and it has to be documented. And you can get the form in the office, or you can download the form from our website or through the First Service Residential Portal. And it's a compliance request. And it takes, depending on your situation, it can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to submit it, or it can take even longer depending on the issue. And the compliance, I want to go through this form because I want to make sure everyone understands it and understands the process. There's confidential, that once you submit it, management takes over, the board is not involved. And also, if you approach a board member about a compliance violation or process, legally, we cannot divulge any information about it. Okay, if you have any questions, you need to contact the office. Going through the form, the compliance process is outlined in the 2024 Member and Resident Handbook. The optional first step is, if you can, try to talk to your neighbor. You know, use kind, nice words, be kind. You know, maybe they just don't know. Maybe they just new to the community. Maybe they've been here for a long time, but they never took the time to actually read the resident handbook, you know? Some cases, I'm seeing some expressions on some faces, maybe they do know and they just don't care. But either way, we have a process and a procedure where you can report a violation. And I know there's some thoughts in there, you're asking us to snitch on our neighbors. No, that's not what I'm asking. What I'm saying is that when we made an agreement, and that was an agreement to move in Oceana Community Association, we made an agreement to follow by some rules and regulations and policies, procedures. And we're just asking everyone to follow suit and do what you agreed to. And so the example on the form, it says, if you feel comfortable, speak with the person first in a friendly and neighborly way. Say something as simple as, are you aware that our association rules said that you can't? Oh, that's a good one. Are you aware that in her resident handbook, and I see CNRs, that you have to have your animal on a leash? Doesn't matter if it's a dog, and it doesn't matter if it's a cat. All right. This next step, if it's not resolved, is complete a form. Use your name, your email, your unit, your house number. Give a clear explanation of the violation. If you have evidence, whether it's photos, whether it's emails, whether it's video footage, please include that. And then once you complete this form, it goes to management, to office, and they have a duty to investigate. They cannot ignore it. I hope I explained it well enough. If you have questions, please contact me, via email, or you can speak to me immediately after the board meeting to clarify something if I did not do that. And if I did not do that, I apologize to the members.
Okay, thank you, Evelyn. It is kind of a complicated process, so it's good to be reminded of what that is. The next on here is new business. The first thing is the fireside chat. As you know, once a month, one of us board members becomes the board member of the month to answer emails that come into the board. Also on the third Wednesday of the month from 6 until 7 p.m., we hold a little informal chat in our library, and we call that the fireside chat. It's a really nice time to have an informal question and answer with the board member, and any topic can be discussed. I happen to be the board member of the month this month, so I was at the fireside chat. We had 3 residents come. Some of the things that we talked about, the excess green waste bins, and we also I had a pie graph. We talked about how the monthly assessment of 604.25 of your monthly assessment, what it covers in our expenses. Sometimes we think a lot more is going toward landscaping or going towards payroll, or it just kind of gives you a better visual idea of where it's actually going. And then we also discussed a little bit about the ongoing litigation. So this is a really great time, especially with some of the changes that are going on. If you have questions, if you want to talk to a board member, please show up next month. That will be, let's see, Teresa, right? Teresa will be the board member of the month next month. So thank you. Going on to the next item B, sidewalks, compliance for the cyclists. I'll kind of read this to you, okay? I was having a conversation at our recent pool party event, and I spoke to a new resident about how they liked Oceana. And her answer was she liked some things and some she didn't. And I asked her, well, what she liked, and she said she liked the activities and that she thought folks were very friendly. But what she didn't like was that our roads weren't friendly to the cyclists because she's blind. When she takes her walk around Vista Campana, some of the sidewalks go right into the street. She can't tell where the sidewalk stops and the street, street starts. She's not only can she be standing in the middle of the cross street without realizing it, she also has to kind of count how many streets she passes because she can't see the signs if it's E Street or D Street or something like that. So she needs to know where the sidewalk ends and the street starts. So I started thinking about that. And as I took my walk around here and as I took my walk downtown at Oceanside, I started to notice, if you have the packet, you can see on the next page, I started to notice that there are little grooves at the end of the sidewalk, or there's little bumps. So somebody who's walking, who needs a cane, would be able to tell, it's kind of almost like a braille on the sidewalk. I'd never noticed it before. And as I walked around Vista Campana, I noticed that only a few of our sidewalks ended with those little grooves. And so that kind of concerned me. I think everybody who lives here should feel safe. We have people who, have sight challenges from macular degeneration, glaucoma, other issues. So it's something that I would like to take up and see if we can help this resident and other residents who have that same challenge. So I'm going to make a motion to have management reach out to the city of Oceanside to research how to make our sidewalks, both city-owned Vista Campana and also our private roads, friendly and accessible to the cyclists. Can I get a motion second on that motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, Kurt? Okay, no discussion. Okay, great. All right, so then with that, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. So that was a unanimous. Thank you. going on to the next item on that was C. It's all about sprinkler timers. I have Bob Hannon coming to speak to us about that. And we're a little bit ahead of schedule, isn't that nice? So he's not gonna be here till about 11, so I'm gonna come back to that when he comes, okay? Mike, is there any way you can contact Bob and let him know anytime? He doesn't rush. Thank you. All right, so going down to D, okay, we have some information that was put forth by our nominating committee. On page 50, they put together a very nice informational packet on how they do things, the procedure, the responsibilities, the activities. It'll be a great help to the next, well, we're calling them the nomination committee at this point, but it'll be a great help to them when we start that process again this fall. So the nomination committee would like us to have a motion to change the name of the nomination committee to better reflect what they really do, which is to call it the Election Coordination Committee. There have been some changes in the state laws and we really aren't nominating residents anymore. So I'd like to make that motion to change the name of the nominating committee to the Election Coordination Committee. And do I have a second? Second. And any discussion? Then I will call. Good. All right. We'll call for a vote then. All those in favor of that motion?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, that would be unanimous, yes. Okay, thank you. Okay. So we'll have all those reports and the procedures on file in our, what we call our white binder and Dropbox, so that future boards will have that also to pass on to the next committee, Election Coordination Committee. Okay. The next item, E, Aladdin Project Good Neighbor Fund. Okay, on page 58, if you're following along. Mike Archer spoke a little bit about that earlier. If you're not familiar with it, the fund that was started by Gordon and Karen Bishop. And it's really meant to reach out and help residents here. And it's kind of going in a little different direction than they're offering grants to those in need. I believe, was it $50 to $100? Exactly. Is that right? They do need some help with it because as they give out these grants, they need to replenish that fund, right? As Mike said, they sold the car that originally they thought would kind of drive around and provide some kind of assurance of safety. They've sold that car, so they have some funds in there now. So they'd like to start an Aladdin project. So they probably will be working up some kind of fundraisers, but also it's an opportunity for those of us who have a little bit more to donate to this fund as an Aladdin fund. So you can contact Mike Archer through the information that he gave you, or you can, reach out to me and I can give you his information if you didn't catch that. Okay. So I'd like to.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm making the motion to approve the Good Neighbor Fund as an Aladdin project.
We have a second.
Second.
Lisa seconded it. Okay, and do we have any discussion? Okay, we have no discussion, so then I call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. We lost Kurt? Okay. Oh, it was a yes. So that was unanimous. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to F, new development update. For those who aren't familiar with this, I'm referring to the project that's at 503 Vista Bella. And Lisa's going to talk to us about that now.
Yeah, hi. I'm gonna give you guys just an update first on what transpired at the first meeting they had on this, which was actually at the site on December 13th. So give you some background on what they had to tell us that night. This is a project and investment group, Vista Bella Investment Group LLC Partners. It's made up of at least 3 people. Louis Scott, Tim Barazzi, and Gary Miller, who appears to be the lead developer on the project. It's 6 stories, not counting the underground parking, 101,000 square feet. Ground floor retail, 77 units, made up of 10 studios, 39 1-bedrooms, and 24 2-bedrooms. It's 68 feet tall, 42 feet from the street, and they apparently got a waiver to go above the normal height limits. It's 1.74 acres. There's a pool and a deck. And supposedly this is being built as a rental for young professionals with rent ranging from $2,000 to $3,000 a month. They did add that these young professionals will be going down the hill, walking down the hill to take public transportation. An item for discussion. Next item. There will be 15 to 30% off rent for 8 units, which are the low income affordable housing. There are 4 commercial units. Those are on the ground level. The exit is at Vista Ray. There is no plan for any stoplight or any other changes at this moment in time. Big safety hazard for us. Parking is underground with 93 spaces and a few others up on the ground level. They had their traffic engineer do a report, and it was determined by their engineer that there would be, caused by this building, 350 additional road trips coming out of that building. That would mean 175 round trips. My question to them at that time was, if we have 93 parking spaces and 175 round trips, where are those other 80 cars going? They had no answer. You can guess, they're going on our streets. The construction is to begin in 2025 with a 14-month construction period. They are applying for a density bonus, and this may be tied also to the affordable housing. To date, they had somewhere between 14 and 24 exceptions that they were granted to override the current rules and laws to build this thing. The city planner is Manuel Beza. I will include in the next highlights his contact information, phone number, email. It's important that you send in your contact information if you want to be updated on future meetings. This is very important. So as far as next steps or actions that we can take or should be thinking about taking at this point in time would be, we have some boilerplate forms drawn up to protest this. We're asking for homeowners to sign these, 1 form for each council member, mayor, and planning department. Additionally, our assembly person and our congressperson. So that will be forthcoming. You will be contacted to see if you're willing to sign these forms so we can send these in to the city. You can imagine if we had 900 people sign 7 forms, that's a lot of paper that will get their attention. So this is very important. We may come door to door to help you out with this. Also, there may be just a standard petition for you to sign with separate from the letters. The other things that we need to be thinking about doing is attending the city meetings as they're announced. That's why it's so important for you to sign up. You might recall that they gave us a 1-day notice on the last meeting. That's not sufficient. So we need us all to be getting the updates. The other thing that we're doing, and this is where you can participate in person, is we're going to be forming an ad hoc meeting to address these issues specific to this development. So you can join the ad hoc committee. It's being formed just for the life of this development. It's not an ongoing thing. It's just to focus on this project. And so we will be asking, please participate in the ad hoc. What we don't want to happen is for everybody to be running haphazardly to the planning department or the city or Eric Joyner, our city council person. What we want to do is have some organized methodology to come at this. And so as such, I'd like to make a motion that we form an ad hoc committee to address whatever comes down on the 503 Vista Bella project. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have discussion.
I just would like to know if we have to approve the formation of an ad hoc committee to add to that, to amend it for research and implement strategy
Yes.
to stop the development at 503 Vista Bella, to stop or cause revision of the development at 503 Vista Bella.
Yes, and it's also been suggested that Ellen Merciel has offered to chair this committee. And so that would be someone who would be our point of contact to organize this. So I'd just like to add that on to the motion.
Okay, so anybody else for discussion?
Restate the motion, please.
Want me to? And Lisa, let me know if you're okay with my amendment, okay? The motion is to approve the formation of an ad hoc committee with Ellen Marcel as lead to research and implement strategy to stop or cause revision of the development at 503 Vista Bella.
Thank you.
So any other discussion before we take a vote on that?
I just want to find out how quickly will this be able to get together?
Well, that will be up to Ellen. If Ellen wants to activate a committee meeting next week, more power to her. The sooner we get going on this and also partner up with the church and the other 55 plus condos that are across from the gas station. We want all of us as a group to be on the same page because this is so important to all of us. We really don't want to haphazardly be coming at this. It's very important that when we have the opportunities, we come in strength and very focused.
I'd like to ask Lisa if you would join as the liaison, as the board representative on this, to work with Ellen
Yes,
on it.
thank you.
Both as kind of the lead.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other discussion on this? Okay, then I'd like to call for the vote. Do you want me to read the motion again? Okay,
Lynn. By Ellen Marcial. Is it correct? As lead to research and implement a strategy to stop the development or cause revision of the development of 503 Vista Bella project.
okay, let's take a vote. All in favor? So that was a unanimous vote for that. Okay, thank you. So we're done with new business and going on to our committee updates. Okay. I'd like to make a motion. Well, we can make the motion after. Is there any discussion on the first committee minutes, which was the architecture? Landscape. Landscape activities.
I'm sorry about the landscape. It's just when I talk about, we have 2 volunteers, we need to approve.
Yeah, we have a couple of volunteers. I thought we could kind of do it all at one time.
Okay, thank you. Oh, wait.
Okay. We have some landscape committee volunteers, and we also have some for the facilities, the new Karma committee that we want to also approve. So is there any other discussion for our minutes for activities, CRC, facilities, finance? Under Hub Committee, that was the last one. They have a motion they would like us to make on page 111. Yes, we fumbled through our papers. So they've been working on getting a new webmaster, and the last board, we already made a motion to approve a certain amount of money to kind of revise it, and then a certain amount that they would need each month to serve it. So the motion that I'm making right now for the Hub Committee is to approve, I'll say this wrong, but Engineer Enterprises as the new Hub webmaster. Okay, that's my motion. Is there? Pardon? They already have the 2 bids in there. So I think at this point, we're ready to make a motion. That was their motion. That was their motion in their meeting. And they've already done that revision of the 2 bids. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to ask about this being tabled for the time being until we find out what the new management company would be bringing. Maybe what they bring will do some of this. We don't have to spend this money. I don't know. I haven't seen the project.
Lynn?
This has been tabled a couple of times. I'd like to put our trust in that hub and suggest that it be approved pending their coordinating with the new management company, because taking a look at assessing all of our computer related functions is part of the initial thing that they're gonna do right away. So I think if the hub were to contact, if we gave them the authority to contact Keystone directly and say, hey, we're working on this, we want to make sure we're coordinated, and they take care of that. They can ask the questions, and if they need to hold off, they will, and if they can move ahead, it will be with Keystone's knowledge and understanding.
Any other discussion on this?
Well, it seems to me that when we do that, if we have an IT ad hoc committee overviewing all of our IT needs, so as we're not duplicating, having too many applications for us to all have to tangle with, that this falls under that. And that also to happen along with the new Keystone rollout. So that's where my concern's coming from.
Kurt has something to say.
Alignment with Lisa's perspective on this. We're going to be getting a lot of technology. So there's going to be a significant amount of what we have currently, I believe, on site.
So we basically have 2 motions here. One is to table this, and that would be probably in the next couple months to review this again. Or the other motion was to Oh,
Mine was a discussion.
Oh,
Yours was a
discussion,
discussion.
okay.
More
Okay, I thought yours was a motion too. Okay, so he made a motion to table.
Oh, I'd like to just table it for 1 month. I don't want this to go on and on and on and on, but that will at least give us a chance to ask Keystone about what they're bringing, if it would encompass this or not, so that we know we can, if it doesn't, then we can just move forward.
More discussion? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so.
I
what
would like to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Councilman
So
Dunn.
what I know about attending these meetings is that this is a website rebranding project, is that correct, ladies? And the money has already been approved. I think it'll be several months before Keystone is willing or able to even give us a take on how they might take over some of these functions or not. And I would like to support, the hub committee in this work. And I would like to go with the original motion that we approve this.
Okay, any other discussion?
Yes, please forgive me. The hub's been working on this for over a year. And, it's been tabled already, and we should give them the go-ahead to continue the work. And I understand Kurt and Lisa's argument that we should speak with a new community management company to see what they all have to offer and, benefits of using them for our rebranding and web design. But we want to go ahead and give them the go-ahead to start continue the project. Because once again, it's been almost over a year they have started this. And we have to give them, and they've been dedicated workers and they've been investigating and researching this, what's right for the association. Let's just let them continue the work, and then they can, like Lynn said, they can communicate with Keystone and speak with them to see what they have to offer.
More discussion? Does anybody else want to speak? Or I think it's the second term?
Yes, I want to mention that because of all the in-depth work that's been going on with the website, I think anything that they do now, as we're going to the transition with Keystone, that when Keystone is ready, that we have 1 or 2 members of the hub committee be involved with that transition. And I don't think there'd be tons of duplication because we'd have the framework to work off of and make any adjustments to make the 2 systems to flow together.
Catherine. Anyone's next?
Either one.
I know that in the proposal to actually develop a website is an additional cost for Keystone, not to say that that wouldn't be a direction to go. Can we, with the original motion of approving this, can we do a conditional approval and approve it on the condition that they coordinate closely with the IT ad hoc committee to ensure that it complies with everything that we're coordinating with Keystone? And then they can move forward. They just need to contact, to be on top of. We don't want to find out 6 months later, oh, they spent their time and their money in it. Doesn't link with the system, which I don't think that they will do, but at least it's in writing, it might make people more comfortable. And then I also wanted to point out to their, to the hub committee that it lists 500 annually for ADA compliance. Since we're no longer doing the election balloting here, that should be rechecked. Because we may not need to do that.
Kathleen, you.
Okay, my comment is it's money well spent. Whatever they come up with will only improve whatever experience we have with the next management. So let's help them go forward with this. Thank you.
I guess I'll chime in here too. I know the hub has been a really important part of our communication system, and we really appreciate what they're doing. And as Lynn said, from what we have learned through our due diligence with Keystone, it would be costly for them to actually create the website. So I think this might be something that needs to be worked in conjunction with the new management as well as IT. So I think rather than table it, let's do a motion to approve. And, what was the amendment that you had, Lynn? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kurt. I did not know.
That's okay. Every single one of us is guessing what we think Keystone is. And guessing is not a good way to select a vendor. They may even have a recommended vendor who integrates with their system. The amount of technology that they're gonna be able to bring to the table is nowhere near where we are right now. So without knowing that this is something that is hand in glove with Keystone's systems, I think is premature. It's important, not urgent. It's not, there's no reason to act quickly in 30 days. It's not that long away to get a better understanding of what it is that we need, or we spend money in a different direction. I understand the work that they've done. I respect that. I'm just saying, we don't know what we don't know. And that once Keystone comes in, it's very specific direction, and it shouldn't take long for them to evaluate and assess what it's needed is maybe a perfect fit.
Is there any other discussion on this? So why don't we start with the motion to approve with the amendment that Lynn had?
That the approval be conditioned on the hub coordinating with the IT ad hoc to ensure that this is compliance isn't right the word, but that it coordinates with all of the work being done with Keystone SA.
So the motion will read, recorded in the minutes.
But I have one question about this. That if we go, if this amendment, we're gonna go forward and the hub works with the IT ad hoc, who works with Keystone. Are we signing a contract with these people right now? Because once we sign, we can't just undo.
The understanding that I had when I went to the hub meeting was it's a 30-day contract. So otherwise I wouldn't be, but this allows them to get started, and from our research with Keystone, I doubt if we will actually have them create and update the website, but maybe do some of the implementing going forward, and all of that can be worked out. So I think we should take the motion, and if it doesn't pass, then we can always do a motion to table.
Well, let me restate the motion to make sure I got it correct. To approve Endure Enterprise as the new webmaster for OCA on the condition the hub collaborates with Keystone IT department.
Okay.
Is that it?
Anybody? And ad hoc IT.
Question. It's not clear to me when you expect them to collaborate with who and when.
I don't have all of the
I mean,
documentation.
they're saying they need to collaborate with IT and they need to collaborate with Keystone, but nobody's saying when. And I think the idea is.
I would say to collaborate moving forward.
But-
They just,
but we can't-
they probably already have made sure that all of this is gonna fit into the big picture. But since there was some question on it, I added that on the condition that they are collaborating moving forward from today,
But we are giving them permission to move forward
as long as they're collaborating, yeah,
as they go.
as they go.
Thank you.
All right, do we have a second on that motion? Kathleen has seconded it. And I think we've had enough discussion, so let's take the vote. All those in favor of the motion? Any further? So,
No.
okay, so we have 5 yes and 2 no. So that motion has been approved. Next on there, we're going to go back in time here. As I said, Bob Hannon, our landscape contractor, was so generous to come and speak to us today, take some time off from all of the work he has fixing our irrigation system. And I'm gonna ask him to come up now and tell us a little bit about the SoCal Water Smart Residential Rebates. It's a weather-based irrigation controller program. Something that we're currently not in compliance with, and also something that, as he will be able to tell you, will most likely save us tons of money on water. So with that, I'd like to invite Bob up here and give him the mic, and he will tell us about this, and then we will decide how and if we will make that motion.
Morning, everybody. Back in 1999, of June of 1999, the California state made a mandatory law for all commercial properties, which all HOAs fall under, to have water-based irrigation timers. And if you don't have them, you can be fined up to $15,000. Why nobody has ever brought this to you? They were supposed to be done by the end of 2000. So being 2024, you guys are a little behind the times. Basically there's a program we get from the state. They give you $35 per station for each timer. So you guys have a total of 1,332 stations. And then we're gonna, the state will allow us to put 7 more stations on each timer. So you guys have a total of 1,591 stations. We're gonna get you a grant from the state for $55,685. We are gonna put all the timers in and get you all the timers with the sensors for that cost, so you guys will have no money out of the HOA for the timers. These timers are very sophisticated. The timers you guys have are probably from about 1980, maybe earlier before that. They're the Rainmasters, which is one of their very first timers they ever made on the market. They're very limited to what you can do. They're basically outdated, a lot of shorts, wiring problems in them. Most of them are broken to the point where you can't lock them or secure them. Basically with the ones we will be putting in, we're gonna get rid of the pedestals in the ground and mount them onto the back of most of them are on garages or up the back of the houses, which will be safer and easier to use and more secure. Where people, the biggest problem I'm having now is I turn water on, I come back the next day, it's off. We don't know who's doing it. It would be nice if we could find out who's doing it. But with the timers not being secure, it's very frustrating because I keep going through and watering, checking heads, fixing things, and then we turn the water on Friday at unit 2. We come over there yesterday, it's off. So it didn't run again when they're supposed to run. Unit 4, unit 6, 3, 5, it's just been an ongoing issue. 7 last week. So with these timers, they're going to be more secure. They have a sensor. When it rains, the sensor shuts the clock off. There's a thing inside the sensor that it takes about 7 to 10 days for it to dry out, depending on how hot it is. And that dries on and clicks the timer back on. There's also a thing on the sensor every night that if it gets really hot, it will increase the times. If it gets cold or rainy, misty, it decreases the times. It's going to save you guys a lot of water. It's going to be a benefit to your landscape company who's ever servicing you, and also the HOAs. If you guys your water bill should come down from the lack of overwatering.
Can you give us an idea of what your costs will be for labor, Bob?
I'm gonna charge you $100 to put in each timer, which is very cheap. What the state regulates with these programs is all I have to do is give you guys the rebate back, and then I can charge you whatever I want. And to be very honest with you, I'm probably the only company in California that doesn't charge I know most of these companies would have charged you probably $350,000-$400,000 to do this job. These timers are, each of them, what they list for, what we can sell them to you guys are about $35,000 to $40,000 a piece. My attitude is this gonna make my life better and your guys' life better, and I'm basically just charging you for my guys to help me. But I'm not marking the timers up at all, I'm giving it to you for, we've actually made it so they're gonna go onto your guys' account. And that way, and then the irrigation place, I know the manager there, he's gonna give you guys a 90-day net. So hopefully, once we get the timers installed, you guys will get your check in about 4 to 6 weeks from the state. So you guys should actually have no money there. I will charge you $100 per time, and you have 37 timers. It's gonna take me about 2 to 4 hours to do each time. You guys are getting a deal. I see people looking and shaking their heads. If you realize what labor is nowadays, $100 is nothing. So, these timers are gonna really benefit you guys, they really will.
So your labor would be, $3,700 out of our pocket. And Bob has worked with, I say the name, Imperial, where he gets the irrigation parts and has a relationship with Patrick there to basically give us a net 90. And the state requires, once we get the approval, which should actually come in just a couple of days, they require you to be finished within 60 days so they can come out and inspect it. So it's a very quick turnaround time that we're talking here. It would be an opportunity for us to not only save on water, but to have some control of what's going on now with somebody turning off the water. And also, you know, just basically be up to date on state requirements. So we don't end up getting fined. Bob's also, he's worked with this program with other communities, so it's something he's familiar with and has turned in. You do have to work with a homeowner, if I'm correct, so we'll make the motion, and Mike McLaughlin in landscaping committee has been working with Bob, and I would want a board representative if this motion passes to work with them also, and that would be the liaison, Teresa, who is a liaison with landscape committee right now, so that we are totally in the loop of what's going on. You know, it's kind of a fast turnaround. There's a lot of money involved, but if it's done right, we can really come out ahead. So anyway, the motion that I had, I'll just state it first and then we can have discussion. Yeah, go ahead.
Just so you guys know, I did take into consideration of the homeowner's expenses for your HOA monthlies. I had a total of 4 companies come out. We've got bids from 3 of the 4. One of the companies, Rainbird, was very adamant about a weather service where they had to charge you guys about $8,000 a year. And I told them we didn't want any expense to the homeowners. That's what I told all companies. 3 of them were no problem. Because their thing is, you know, they want to make money too. Rainbird was very adamant, no, we have to do it, you have to do it. So I told Rainbird don't bid. Because I didn't want you guys to incur more HOA dues. So the companies that are doing it, their timers will not have any kind of a monthly service or a yearly service. So you guys, as homeowners, won't incur any cost. Just so you guys know that I did keep that in mind when going against you. Before you do.
Bob, are you replacing existing
Yes.
equipment? Okay, so that makes it a reserve expense.
Yeah, replacement.
Yeah.
Expense, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call for the motion and then there'll be just some time for discussion, okay? So, or you know, if you wanted to end it. So the motion is to authorize Total Landscape Creations, Bob, and the Landscape Committee to pursue the SoCal Water Smart Residential Rebates Weather-Based Irrigation Controllers Program. They call it. Okay, do I have a second? Okay, and let's have discussion then. Anybody? Teresa?
I just want to be clear about the expense. We're gonna be paying $100 per timer. And then is that the 55,000 that you mentioned, is that labor included in that 55 or it's separate?
So they'll come in, we'll put in all the clock and everything, that is just for all the timers. What happens with that is depending on, we have got, can you guys hear me? Basically, what happens is with the SoCal rebate program that you guys get, you get a check for $55,685. If we come in under that, like say with putting all the timers in and stuff and the sensors, you guys keep that money. It's yours.
So everything's included in that cost, thank you.
One other thing, just so you guys know, if you guys go on, it's called saveabuck.com, SoCal rebates. You can actually get rebates for toilets, faucets, shower heads in your houses. And they will come, you replace it, you send them the invoice and the picture of it being done, and they will send you a check. So you guys can get like low flow toilets and all that replaced for free, if you guys didn't know that. It's a great website. Just put saveabuck.com and then you can push residential and it'll give you a list of all the rebates you can get.
Okay, any other discussion?
I just have a comment. In terms of, I'd like to thank you, Bob. You've done an awesome job since you've gotten here, not only in terms of landscaping, but you are really putting the homeowner's best interest first and looking out for us and really going that extra mile. This is a prime example. We didn't even know anything about this, and you've taken the initiative and run with it. And it means a lot to me as a homeowner, and it means even more as a board member. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
What exactly are we approving?
What are we approving or improving?
Approving, what does this motion approve?
Approves that Total Landscape and the landscaping committee, they pursue this SoCal Water Smart Residential Rebate program. Now, Bob has put in for actual bids on the controllers or the timers. He's still waiting for them. Okay, we can amend this to know that the bids come in at a price less than the $35 each. You know, we can amend it to say that. In his using of this program with other communities, it's always come in either covering everything or even with the homeowner or the association coming out a little bit ahead. Our out-of-pocket would be his labor, which is the 37 stations, are they called?
$3,700, but.
So 3,700.
You guys might, with depending on the price you get for the timers, it might cover what you guys are getting from the state. So you guys might not get any.
So the bids that Bob is getting right now is actually to get us the best price possible on each one of these timers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Bob?
Basically, what you guys would be voting on is to start the process. You basically have to put in a application with the state. You need your water bills, all the meter numbers and stuff, and then you'll need like the stations and then the total square footage of your property. Basically, you have to do it when you're ready because they don't mess around with you. Once they approve it, which usually takes like 1 to 3 days, you have 60 days from that day. We have to come in and get every timer installed like ASAP. I can't mess around. Nobody can mess around. And then you have to have a board member or a landscape chairperson who's going to be on top of it because sometimes the states will send you an email and ask for questions. If you don't respond in a day or two, they will terminate your process and you guys are out the money. So you have to have somebody that's going to be very proactive and watch their email every day and just stay on top of it. Once I get the timers in, I contact the state and I contact your board members, say, hey, we're done. And then they have somebody come out and inspect them. As soon as the inspection's done, you guys get your check, which usually, like I said, takes about anywhere from, the most we've ever had them happen was like 8 weeks. Usually it's like 4 to 8 weeks, but most people get it with 4 to 6. You get a cashier's check from the state. So, and then you would pay, Imperial for your timers, and then whatever. I will basically let you know before we even start working what your cost is going to be, because the irrigation companies have presented the bids to Patrick at Imperial, and then he's told me what my cost would be. Or well, actually what your cost would be.
Okay, so are you saying before we start the process of applying, you will know from your bids that we will?
We should have prices either by Friday of this week or Monday and Tuesday next week at the latest.
Okay. So, you know, we could go with this, or we could make some kind of an amendment that we know that your bids come in at or under the rebate of $35 each.
If you guys want to wait till next week to start your application process, you know, we should have the bids by
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Well, the application, tell me this, Bob, but I'm assuming the application is gonna be handled by Mike McLaughlin,
Whoever you guys,
and Teresa will work with him.
whoever you guys nominate, it's all done online.
Okay.
So, I told Mike I would help him with it. They're not that hard. It's pretty simple. Takes maybe 20 minutes to a half hour. The only thing you guys would need was be all the water meter numbers and also the square footage of your property.
Okay, that means our manager has to be involved in that,
No.
because he gets all of them. When you say we needed the water units used and the
We
numbers,
just need a water bill with all the meter numbers.
that would be the manager. That's where that information is.
Okay, so,
You can just give Mike or Linda a bill, that's it. I don't want to waste his time on.
or we can also have our treasurer dig up the bill. Would you be able to do that, Lynn?
So, yeah, we just need a bill from each.
Okay. So Lynn, will you also work on this with, Teresa and Mike McLaughlin to get that part of it going?
Yeah, please include me on any emails going around the project, just, I have a
Yeah.
need to know.
Well, that is up to you guys, whoever does the email to the state, you would put a chain of any email, like copy me. You always put the landscape company on it because they might ask an email to me. So anybody who you want on that chain, when you send the application to the state, you want them on that chain. But that's who they'll email, they'll just copy everybody on that chain.
Okay, I'll start that chain to Mike and to Teresa, Lynn on there, and you, okay, and myself, and, so anyway. Pretty exciting, but it's a really big project, so I can understand there's a lot of questions on it. So are we, I don't know if we had a second on that, I did bring the motion. We ready to do a second on that motion? Oh, we did, okay. So we have a second. Okay, let's go ahead and around again.
I guess what I'm trying to say, are we committing money right now? Because I think if we're gonna commit money, we need something in front of us, like an RFP or a letter or something that's documented. That's just my take.
Okay, so the main amount of money we're talking here, and I agree with you, is the labor that Bob talked about. So that would be 3,700, and I'm sure we can, Bob, can you give us, some kind of a documentation on your cost for labor? Okay, okay, as far as the, well, just so we know in advance what, you know, what we're doing, so. Yeah, we can amend this to include that, subject to, it's not an invoice, a bid from Bob on the labor. And a final number from Patrick as to the cost of the controller, making sure that's covered.
We can just say timers not to exceed and set the amount of,
$35, right?
well, and labor, well, the timers not to exceed the 55,000 and labor not to exceed $3,700. So we approve moving forward on the condition of these costs not exceeding da.
So the motion will read, so I can place it in the minutes.
all of that together, the 3,700 and what was it, 55?
55,685. You guys go on the website, it's all stated right up. But you can see it all.
So, if I'm correct, if I add the 3,700 for Bob's labor and the 55,685 for the rebate amount that we would get back, that comes to 59,385. Could we just round that to 60,000 and just say, make that motion subject to, how did you put that?
I'd rather not, I'd rather say subject to approval of our application for their $55,685 grant from the state. And payment of labor up to $3,700. Because if for some reason we don't get the grant, then if we're obligating ourselves to pay it, then it would have to come out of it.
Bob, you'll have to help us here. My understanding is that once we get the grant, would we have time to at that point order all of these controllers, or do we have to have them done, already ordered?
No, they're already, whatever company we go with, as soon as I tell them yes, they'll set the timers aside and give them to Patrick. So when you guys get approved, we go and pick them up that day and start putting them in.
Okay.
I don't mess around with this stuff because it's like, I've been doing these for the state for 27 years. I've never had one not get passed because we do them correct, we do them quick. Because my thing is the quicker we get them done, the quicker you guys get your check, and then everybody takes a sigh of relief. For them. Sometimes people stress out about it, and then when they get the check, they're always like, "Why didn't the state give it to us?" But once you get the approval from the state, it comes in an email, and they basically give you all the instructions that you need to follow. So
If for some reason we were the exception and we didn't get that email that
They would
approved
tell
us, are we then obligated for the ones that they have set aside? Or,
no,
okay,
no.
so as soon as we get that application that says we're approved, we move forward. So we're,
If for some reason you guys decided, hey, we don't want to do it, Hunter or whatever company we use would come and just pick up the clocks and take it away. So you guys, the only thing you have to just be careful is like you have to follow the instructions and just do what they ask you. They send you an email or you reply to it, answer their questions. If you do everything they ask you, you get your check. So, but if you guys decide like, hey, we don't want to do this, then we would just tell them, hey, they don't want to do it. The only way you guys wouldn't get approved is if the state was out of money and they're not. Because I did call and talk to see if they had money available, and they said they had over $1.5 million.
Keep in mind, if we don't do it, our fines will be higher than this amount.
Yes. Well, and our cost for water. This is
Yes.
new technology. I think you also can control these remotely, right, Bob? And they're all weather, weather sensitive. So I think the way the motion reads, it just says that we can pursue, the program, starting the program. And as Bob said, if they deny it, we just tell, Patrick at Imperial that we aren't gonna need those after all.
Yeah, I would just tell them like, hey, they decided not to do it or state didn't approve.
So any other discussion on this? Does Kurt have any discussion? No discussion? Okay, so then do we have a second on this? Okay, all right, so I'm gonna read the motion again and then I'm gonna call for the vote. The motion is to authorize Total Landscape Creations and the Landscape Committee to pursue the SoCal Water Smart Residential Rebates Weather-Based Irrigation Controllers Program. And so I would like to call for the vote. All those in favor? For pursuing. Then are you gonna abstain? Okay. Okay, passed unanimously. Okay, I didn't see Teresa. Okay. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so that did pass. Okay, so It's gonna be really exciting. I feel like we're moving into a new technology age here finally. Okay, so let's see where we were at. Bob, thank you so much. That was wonderful for you to come and take your time and talk to us about that.
You guys will really benefit from these. You're moving from the arcade into the current time. The only reason you guys have been lucky is because the waters, with all the rain you haven't had. If they got this warm, they would the water, they could not take property that you guys have got. They've been pretty steep.
Who is that?
The state and also the counties and the cities. Carlsbad was one city that was very aggressive. They went out, they had water police in trucks, and they actually drove around to commercial properties, and if they didn't have timers, they'd find them. They started with 2,500 and all the way to 50,000. So you guys, I'm surprised nobody ever got you guys on this program or anything, but you guys are really gonna benefit this. Like I said, you're gonna see if you talk to other companies, I guarantee they're charging. So I'm really trying to help you guys out. I know your plan.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
He's not only taking care of our landscape, he is looking at our budget. So thank you, Bob. Okay, I'd like to go back to our committee minutes. And at this time, if there's no discussion, I would like to make the motion to approve Peggy Moore and Eve Fournier with the facilities, the new Karma Committee, and to approve Dennis Metz and Donna Gable for landscaping. We've all seen, you know, that paperwork has come in. So, and then also at the same time, there's a resignation of Lynn Schneidenbach as secretary for facilities, Karma. So could I have a second on that motion? Kathleen will second that. Any discussion? Then let's call for a vote. All those in favor? Thank you to those volunteers and to Lynn for the time that she served as secretary. So thank you for stepping up and helping out with these committees. As you can see from Fernando's report, you know, lots of trip and fall hazards are being reported and being taken care of. So it's been really great. Okay, and I think we are ready. Look at that. Ready to call for, well, let's first of all, I have to ask questions. Are there any other questions from the attendees at this point? Okay, yeah, you want to come up?
I'm up. Oh, I need mine. I want to hear you. Oh, trust me.
Can you hear me? Can you please tell us where and who is the IT ad hoc committee? Who is that? Where are they?
It's being formed.
I can talk about it just a little bit. It was actually formed and worked on last year, and there's been a few of the meetings, and we've been working on the Cox contract, whether we want to pursue Cox going into you know, the TV cable through them. We've also been reached out by the Cyber City fiber optics, who wants to put fiber optics through our community. So all of these kind of fall under the IT, and plus with the new Keystone coming in, there's going to be some other IT issues that come up. So it's just to kind of work through those. They kind of fall, maybe they fall into the hub, I don't know, but they've always been kind of outside of the hub because of the communication aspect of it through that.
Since we've told the hub that they need to coordinate with the IT ad hoc, who is their point of contact right now? Would be Lisa.
It would be Lisa, yeah. It's a very small committee. Last year was Karen Bishop, myself, Mike Archer. That's about it. We talked a little bit. We talked, you know, and we talked a little bit to Cox, and they gave us a proposal, and there's some decisions to be made yet.
And give us probably, it's more of a matter of make sure that everybody is on the same page. not changing the page.
Anybody else have comments?
Yeah, one of the reasons why we've been delayed is because of the changing of the management.
Hi, I was in the French group next door and I was just told by someone who's been in here that the board has decided to terminate our contract with First Service. That's correct. And are you gonna self-manage again the way?
No, No.
Have you thoroughly vetted the candidates that you?
we have. The candidates, they were vetted within a year by the nominating, the management.
This is the group that I was on the committee.
Yes, that. So it's been less than a year. And so we reviewed that and we've chosen one of those. They were one of the top contenders that were recommended to the board, which is Keystone Pacific. They're a California-based company.
Could I ask you a reason for terminating the First Service contract?
It's just many different things. Yeah, just many different things. People probably talk to a lot of different people and they have things to say about it, but come to the fireside chat.
Okay.
Chat.
Thank you.
Oh, and the town hall, yeah, because we will definitely be talking about it then. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Well,
Hello?
I seem to have fallen into quite a few black holes with my compliance issue, and now I'm being told that I have management, and I'm not clear as to who currently management is.
Currently, the management is First Service. They will be our manager until the end of July.
So will that issue will
Reach
still
out.
be relevant when First Service is
Absolutely.
no
We'll
longer-
reach out to you, okay, and talk about this with you in private, okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Is there anything else? Oh, go ahead, Ellen. All of them.
You did? Okay, good. I just.
Wait, no, maybe we didn't. Did we? We went into the volunteers. Okay, thank you, Ellen. Okay, so while we're thinking about it, let's do that. Make a motion. Somebody make a motion to approve the minutes from the committees.
There was,
Finish that, okay,
there's one more resident. Did you want to say something to that?
go ahead.
I know I'm way late coming to the game on this. I know everybody is very upset about this Villa project, but what are the details on the Lennar project that skirt our property?
Lisa, did you want to say anything?
I know nothing about that project.
Yeah.
The one by Gardner.
Well, what I heard was at the meeting, I thought they said that's already been approved and moving
I'm sure
forward.
it has. Do we have any idea how many units?
What we know is there's 10 buildings with 3 stories. There'll be a total of 75 units. That's what I know. This started in 2008.
No, not Vistabella. I know all.
No,
about that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Vistabella is 77.
Yeah.
This thing you're talking about is 75.
No, I don't.
Okay,
think
give us
so.
another update then.
I think Lennar is huge. And I'm wondering how long the construction's gonna be going on that, and, you know, we were so
never
upset
notified
about
of
this
anything.
development, but.
Yeah, we
I
never
never
heard
notified
anything
of
about this until it was already through. Yes.
I have a website for that you can get a hold of and contact Lennar for all of the details on it, and I'll be glad to send it to you. Give me your email.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the homeowners?
Hi.
I just wanted to say at the meeting they had on the Vista project, the two office building, they did say that the other one will be 142 units. You know, that's changed, that's news to me, because that's what, that came from the developers. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, so are there any other homeowners who have comments? Right, then at this time, let's make a motion to approve the minutes from the committees. Right now, I'll make the motion, second, and all those in favor?
Yes.
That's unanimous. And that does conclude. Oh, our next board meeting is June 26th, Wednesday as usual at 9:30. But I also want to remind you to please come to the town hall on the 8th from 1 until 3. We'll be talking about the change in management, but also doing a couple other things. We want to involve you in our strategic plan, get some of your ideas, as well as to do a little summary of the litigation and where that's at. So with that, I would like to adjourn at 11:25, 26.